Sometimes the world will test you. It will strip away everything you have. And ask, how bad do you really want your dream? This is the true story of a man who lost everything, slept in public restrooms, but never gave up. His name is Chris Gardner, and his journey from homelessness to millionaire investor will remind you that no matter how dark life gets, your future is still in your hands. Chris Gardner was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin in 1954. He grew up surrounded by poverty, abuse, and fear. His stepfather was violent and his mother was in and out of prison. Chris spent time in foster care, witnessing things no child should ever see, but deep down, he had something special, a belief that his life didn't have to end like this. He just didn't know how, yet. As a young man, Chris joined the Navy, then worked as a medical equipment salesman. He earned enough to get by, but life was still tough. Then one day, everything changed. He became a father. When his girlfriend left him, Chris was suddenly a single parent, with no money, no stable job, and a baby boy to feed. He was 27 years old, and completely alone. One morning, while walking past a busy street in San Francisco, Chris saw a man step out of a red Ferrari. He asked the man, "What do you do for a living?" The man smiled and said, "I'm a stockbroker." At that moment, Chris knew, that's what I want to do. Not because of the money, but because it represented freedom. A life where he could provide for his son. A life with dignity. But there was just one problem. He had no degree, no experience, and no connections. Chris applied to every brokerage firm he could find. He faced rejection after rejection. Some firms didn't return his calls, others laughed in his face. But one day, Dean Witter gave him a chance, an unpaid internship. Hundreds applied, only 20 were selected. Chris was one of them, but there was a cost. He wouldn't earn a single dollar, and that meant things were about to get even worse. He was evicted from his apartment. He had nowhere to go. With his toddler in tow, Chris slept in public bathrooms, bus stations, and church shelters. He would press his back against the bathroom door at night to keep strangers out, while his son slept on his lap. But every morning, Chris woke up, cleaned himself in public restrooms, put on the only suit he owned, and went to work. He showed up early, stayed late, studied hard. He made 200 cold calls a day to potential investors, and still found time to care for his son. He never told anyone he was homeless, he just worked, and worked, and worked. After 6 months of, just unimaginable struggle, Chris Gardner passed his licensing exam. He got the full-time job. Within a few years, he was not just surviving, he was thriving. In 1987, he founded his own brokerage firm, Gardner Rich & Company. He became a multimillionaire. But honestly, more importantly, he became the father he had always wanted to be. Chris Gardner's story was later turned into the blockbuster movie, The Pursuit of Happyness, starring Will Smith. The film inspired millions, but honestly, the real-life journey is even more powerful. Chris didn't get lucky. He didn't have rich parents. He didn't win the lottery. He just refused to quit. He once said, "You can only depend on yourself. The cavalry ain't coming." So if you're struggling right now, if you feel like the world has forgotten you, if you're tired, broke, or alone, remember Chris Gardner. He had nothing, but he still believed. And that belief, well, it changed everything. You are not your circumstances. You are not your bank account. You are your determination, your discipline, your dream. So whatever you're chasing, keep going, because one day, the world will know your name, just like it knows his. If this story inspired you, please hit that like button, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and don't forget to subscribe for more true motivational stories.